welcome to Frontline TV. And today we're going to take a look at the stories making the tabloids, that's the Nigerian newspapers. My name is Musa Khan with the presentation. We're going to start off with the Daily Independent, that is the most read newspaper among the political and business elite. Independent newspaper has the leading story as Nigeria's state debt climbs 6.8% to 10.57 trillion naira budget fines. Anambra emerges most physically sustainable state in 2025, and Enugu likeliest state to survive independent of FAAC allocations. And also another leading story from the Independent newspaper has it that reforms focuses on easing hardship for ordinary citizens. This one is coming from Edu, saying that Nigeria needs long-term capital and infrastructure investment. Sunusi blames decades of inaction on fuel subsidy for hardship. And also there is another message here from the other side of the Independent newspaper which says, "Don't allow Nigeria's democracy die in your hands," Tinubu is being urged. And also, reps move to probe NFF over misuse of $25 million FIFA CAF grants. And also, still from the Independent newspaper, federal government targets 2 million meters annually with 700 billion naira funding. And finally, from the Independent newspaper, reps panel moves to impose green tax on plastic producers. That's the much from the most read newspaper among the political and business elites, that is the Independent newspaper. And now moving over to the Punch newspaper, the leading story has it, Hurricane Tinubu. Taraba, Plateau, Adamawa governors face defection dilemma. Kefas Muftwang's political realignment looms. Fintry holds ground, planned defection unsettles state APC leaders. And also First Bank vindication, arbitration tribunal dismisses GHL's $718 million claim. And also visa cancellation, why I snubbed US embassy summons, says Shoyinka. And also military interrogates MD, raids ex-governor's house, and the Senate set to grill new service chiefs today. Abdulaziz receives 23 kidnapped victims rescued by military. And still from the Punch newspaper, vote buying won't decide Anambra election. This one is coming from Amobiton. And also hidden assets. Court rules Abakari has case to answer. And also states to earn over 4 trillion naira yearly from VAT reforms. From the topmost part of the Punch newspaper, enrollees stranded as NHIA server failure drags into weeks. Don't forget the leading story from the Punch newspaper has it that Hurricane Tinubu, Taraba, Plateau, Adamawa governors face defection dilemma. Now moving over to the Daily Trust newspaper, the newspaper you can always trust. Leading story, Sunusi to federal government, borrowing after subsidy removal wrong. This one is coming from Sunusi to the federal government. And also the $1 billion debt, banks take over Nest Oil. And also 8 years after threatening to tear green card US, that is, 8 years after threatening to tear green card, US resolves Soyinka's visa. Senate to screen service chiefs today. And also from the Daily Trust newspaper, Port Harcourt refinery shut down. How Nigeria lost 362.2 billion naira in months. First Bank's vindication, arbitration tribunal dismisses GHL's $718 million claim. That's the tribunal's order for GHL to pay First Bank's arbitration cost within 30 days underscores the bank's strong position in the dispute and paves way for further action to recover $230 million owed to the bank. Let's not forget the leading story from the Daily Trust today says Sunusi to federal government, borrowing after subsidy removal wrong. Now we're going to take a look at First Daily newspaper. The leading story from the first daily newspaper says terror threat rocks Abuja. Reps raise alarm over plots to bomb National Assembly. Security agencies on high alert. Lawmakers demand immediate fortification of complex. Terror threat rocks Abuja. And also, female politicians struggle because women don't support them. This one is coming from the Senate President talking about God's will Akpabio, saying that female politicians are struggling because women don't support them. And also, federal government insists only made in Nigeria goods qualify for ECOWAS free trade benefits. And also, reps to probe NFF over alleged misuse of $25 million FIFA CAF grants. And also, NEL Fund disburses 116.4 billion loan to 624,000 beneficiaries. Ribadu warns violence in Anambra poll will be met by force. And also, INEC deploys 24,000 ad hoc staff, promises credible Anambra election. And also, the topmost part of the first daily newspaper says Senate to screen Tinubu's new service election year to test Nigeria's reforms momentum, growth, recovery. That is from the Guardian newspaper. The topmost part is still talking about the First Bank vindication. That is, the arbitration tribunal dismisses GHL's $718 million claim. And also, you have the picture of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and also the President of the Senate there with other dignitaries. And another leading story here says, Power tussle rocks APC as leaders split over Muftuang's defection. Obi worries about drug trafficking through courier services, and also Minister, the Guardian partner with National Youth Reorientation. Reps raises alarm over terrorist threat to bomb National Assembly. You can get more of these stories when you obtain a copy of the Guardian newspaper, and you will get more of the detailed stories mentioned. Now moving over to the Nigerian Tribune. The leading story from the Nigerian Tribune says Anambra election, violence will be met with strong, uncompromising response. This one is coming from the National Security Advisor, talking about Alhaji Nuhu Ribadu, saying police 2,000 officers and Amupiton justifies extension of collection of PVCs. And also, still from the front of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, growing concern over CBN's bid to control Nigeria's fixed income market, and also scientists to turn flower fragrance into mosquito killer. Wow. And then, still from the front of the Nigerian Tribune, U.S. revokes Barrister Nyesom Wike intelligence for the next generation there. He's flanked by the people that are, attending that event. Don't forget, the leading story from the Nigerian Tribune is violence will be met with a strong, uncompromising response coming from the NSA. All right, now that's the much that we will be taking from the Nigerian Tribune. And now moving over to our next newspaper, the leading story from the Vanguard newspaper is, Don't Just Reform. Cut Waste, Sunusi Peterside tells federal government. Don't just reform. Cut waste, Sunusi Peterside tells the federal government. And also challenge leaders on accountability, economic discipline, and also, why do we need 48 ministers? Long convoy, endless travels. This one is the questions that Sunusi is always asking. And the benefits of subsidy removal can only be realized through proper governance, says Peterside. All right, and there's, from the bottom part of it, Senate's NSITF takeover, declaration of war on workers, says NLC, threatens directive halting workers, fund deductions, and also remittances. And also, still from the National Assembly, reps are raising alarm that they have received threats from terrorists to bomb the National Assembly. And also, this one's coming from Wole Soyinka saying, I've been banned from US. Reps to probe NFF over $25 million FIFA grants. You can get more of the inside stories when you obtain a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. The last newspaper for today is a leadership newspaper, still in service of God and country, 21 years after. the leadership newspaper. The leading story: governors, or should I say, government mulls minimum capital threshold for power distributors license renewal. And still from the front of the leadership newspaper, Wiki unveils Abuja's five-pillar smart city plan at Dubai Summit. And also hardship: Makinde falls Yeltwada's blanket criticism of governors. And still from the front of the leadership newspaper, Lagos Edo top debt per capita list as states' liabilities hit 10.57 trillion naira. This was coming from budget. And also reps to probe the issue of the $25 million FIFA and CAF grants to NFF. And also developing Nigeria's livestock industry are priorities, says the minister. Concerns court orders takeover of Nest Oil, over $1 billion debt. Well, that's it from the newspaper headlines that came to you from Frontline TV. Thanks for watching.